How much of the Tennessee season this year have you been able to keep track of or watch?
Honestly, I definitely keep up with it, but in terms of watching it, I haven't been able to watch a ton of games. I'll go back and go watch like some of the YouTube highlights or something after the game, but it's hard to keep track of because we play at the same time they do most times, so it's tough. But I definitely still do my best.
What do you miss most about UT?
The energy, the fans, the competitiveness, just the whole nine yards. To be honest, just playing in college with uh, all your best friends. Like, I mean, it's hard to beat college baseball. There's not really much better than that. Hopefully, when you get to the big leagues, it's a similar competitiveness and things like that. But yeah, that's definitely what I miss for now.
What has it been like to watch this team or, follow this team this season as they kind of seem to have found themselves?
For me, it's every team. Every team's different. I mean, you can't go based off the year before. You can't go based off the year before that. Like it's a new team. There's new players. They have to, like you said, they have to figure it out for what their team identity is. And I think this team it just took a little bit longer. Younger guys, newer faces. It took a little longer to buy in, but they've had the talent. Um, never were short on talent. So it was just a matter of time when they figured it out, and hopefully right now is the time they're getting going the best.
Obviously, way different starting lineup, but you played with so many of the guys that are still on this team. What did you know about the guys that were going to fill those roles that kind of made you feel like this was within the realm of possibility?
I mean, just starting off the pitching staff, I think that a pitching staff is going to carry a team over anything, and they had the exact same staff as we had last year. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I mean, there was no complaints there. And then the bullpen, I actually thought got a little bit deeper. We had guys last year that hadn't thrown a ton that were just really good, but like they actually had some experience. They had good returners coming back. That was just a good recipe for success. And obviously, we replaced all nine last year for on defense and hitting. So it's tough to say what somebody looks like in a full year. But I mean, you seen Burke and Christian Moore last year when they got chances, they played well. So I think obviously you seen some of Dickey last year. I know he's a little bit banged up, but I think they showed signs of what they could be. So I think that it was an easy way to look into the next season and be like, yeah, we have a good team.
What do you think it is about Tony Vitello that he can help a team sort of grow into that maturity or into those roles?
I think he just puts people in enough scenarios to learn and grow, and then I think that he gives enough opportunity to the guys that you don't necessarily may not know of or think about. And I think that as a team, that I think that helps out a lot because it's not just like, hey, this one guy's going out there every single day, no matter what. It's like, no, you're competing for a spot every day. There's no set lineup, set in stone, anything. And I think players know that. And then again, like he's just a fun guy to play for. He brings energy, and you match the energy of what he brings. So I think I think a lot of that's got to do with him too.
You mentioned that energy, obviously, no shortage of that last year with a lot of you guys on that team, you, Drew, guys like that. What was it like to see? I don't know if you saw the clip of Chase Burns in the what turned out to be the super regional clincher, uh, getting that strikeout and going to the dugout absolutely fired up. What is it like to see that energy from a guy like that?
I mean, it's good to see. I mean, it's just guys being competitive at the end of the day. I don't I mean, celebrations are what they are, but that's just having fun at its purest form. And I think that there goes a lot to say in to that how good of a player he is, and he knows the confidence that he has. And I think when moments like that heat up, it's just that's just your first level of excitement and doing it with your boys on the field. No better feeling, but I think that's just being competitive, to be honest.
And now looking back to when you guys made the College World Series in 2021, what do you think it took for that team to get to that point?
Um, a lot of growing. I mean, that was a team that I think was a good mix of young and older players that were experienced. Obviously, we were talented. You got to have talent to get there. You also got to time it the right way. You got to be swinging the bat well. Got to be pitching well at the right time. But I think that it was a pretty cohesive team, and I think a lot of that has to do with that. I don't think that you can go. You can have a talented team and be super good, but if you're not cohesive, you're not going to win when it matters. So I think that team kind of had that going, and yeah, that's really from that experience and that team. I think that's what helped us build it to the end.
What is it like to go to the College World Series and get to Omaha and be one of those final eight teams?
I, I mean, this is going to sound maybe a little bad, but I don't think that the goal is necessarily to get there. I mean, it is cool that you did make it. Obviously, when I went 0-2. That the goal wasn't just to get there. The goal was to win. Obviously, so going there and losing your first two games, like yeah, it was a great experience. But at the end of the day, it's another baseball tournament. We played baseball tournaments our whole lives, and we expect to win. It's not you don't want to go into that and be like this is a consolation prize no matter what happens after this. I mean, you don't get a trophy for being the eighth best team in the country. So I think that I wish it would have turned out differently, obviously, but it didn't. So hopefully this year's team can get it done and bring Tennessee a national championship.
What was the biggest takeaway from your trip to Omaha? Not quite going the way you wanted it to. What was your biggest takeaway or the learning experience from going 0-2?
I mean, it's baseball, different team, different game every day. Um, I think we learned a lot because at least the players that I came with were young. Like me and Drew were still young. Obviously, COVID happened, so that was our first year and first real playoff experience. Just being calm in those situations, not like over trying to do too much because you got so much adrenaline going. Um, it's just compete at the end of the day. You're never going to get in trouble for playing too hard. So I mean, you got to just play hard. I mean, the little things matter. Defense, base running, like small stuff shows up in games that you need to win. So I just remember in those games, like it was small stuff. Like they got big hits when they needed to get big hits, and we didn't get big hits when we needed them. So like stuff like that's how you win and lose ball games at the end of the year. And obviously, you got to have a good pitching staff to get there as well. So you got to have the whole team. Got to have the whole team moving.
How much of the 2021 season played into the confidence level that you guys had the following year?
I mean, it definitely played into a lot because a lot of people build confidence off experience and what you've done before. So I think that it had a huge role in it, but I think it also that the team just had a different character. We were comfortable in our own skins. Like we knew what which each other were, I guess. So like we also had like enough of the team had been there the year before, not necessarily played, but like we knew what type of players they were too. And I just think that they felt that in that situation, they went into the off season and just got better. And I think that's kind of what the whole team took into that. And and we got better as a unit and came back to the school in the fall and we were just a complete team. Like we had a lot of really good players that could play defense and hit, base run. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for when you want a good team.
Is there anything about this year's team? You mentioned the growing that you guys had to do in 2021. Is there anything about that you kind of see in this year's team?
Um, Definitely. I mean, the starting rotation again. It's like they're gonna they're gonna grow with confidence. Obviously, everything's not gonna be sunshine and rainbows at the end of the day, but they're gonna grow. They're gonna get better, and each experience is only gonna help you. You're gonna know what to do in this situation, know what to do in that situation, but still, like they have a couple older players on the team, but for the most part, this is a pretty young team. So they have to learn what it's like to be in these situations, and obviously, you want them to do the best they can in the first one they get. And Tony will prepare them in any way possible to be ready for those situations. But at the same time, like once you go out there, that's when you got to do it. So uh, that's just really what it is at the end of the day.
How much contact have you had with the guys in this team, and have you reached out to any of them?
I mean, yeah, I still keep in contact with a lot of them. Talk to them probably every other day or so. I mean, it's not something you just go and just leave behind. I mean, those a lot of those are my good friends, so I still talk to them a lot.
Was there any sort of message that you tried to relay once they booked their trip to Omaha?
Yeah, it's not a consolation prize to get there. That's can't go in there thinking like, yeah, this is what we got. No, that's not it. At the end of the day, you got to win games there, and that's what it is. It's the SEC tournament's the same way. You got to win games to get to the championship. And just believe. I know Elander always says, if you believe it, it's true, and if you believe you can win, it's true.
Knowing what you know about this team, what makes you feel like they can go the distance?
The staff, I think that even in the super regional, you kind of seen that how much depth we actually have with the pitching staff, and I think that that takes you a long way in Omaha. We play solid defense, and I think pitching and defense it is a huge factor in a big ballpark like that, and I think that we have it. Obviously, we're going to have to score runs at the end of the day, but I just think that we're going to outstaff a lot of people. Yeah, once we get to other people's pens and deeper into the tournament, I think that that'll show up more.